Emily.
And I'm Janet.
And this is a summary of our vignette. Kayla is physically more mature than her peers. She likes school but complains about forgetting content. She's become withdrawn and doesn't show up for class. She hangs out with older students who may be using drugs. She does have a supportive home environment, but her parents have limited English skills and struggle financially. She wants to do well but needs more help.
So from this, we are going to be talking about two major issues with brain development and physical development.
What are the developmental issues present? Two key developmental issues raised in the vignette are cognitive development and physical development. Cognitive development issues involve things such as Kayla complaining about forgetting class content and having trouble keeping up, and also involves emotional development and struggling with peers and social interactions with people her own age. Physical development issues involve Kayla being physically more mature than her peers, and also encompasses the result of puberty and how this has impacted Kayla's interactions with peers and within her schooling.
The brain structure. At this stage, adolescents such as Kayla tend to be highly at learning the good and the bad. The brain is the most protected organ in the human body, and it should be noted brain size does not equate with high intelligence. For girls to reach their maximum brain development is 11 to 12 years, and boys at 14 to 15 years of age. Prior to preteen years, there is a massive overproduction of brain cells which are highly active and highly primed for learning. During adolescence, pruning of connections between brain cells takes place. This can be explained through the stages. Number 1, synaptogenesis. This is the rapid increase of synapses. This is the stage for great learning. Number 2, myelination. This insulates the synapses. This is where the brain cells stops their production and instead focus on knowledge being consolidated. 3, synaptic pruning. This is a phase where frequently used connections are strengthened and infrequently used connections are eliminated. Short-term memory. Short-term memory is now known as the working memory because of the function it takes on. Working memory is highly active, which access, compare, and analyze information. Hence, every time one uses working memory, it utilizes controlled processing. When one learns something, it uses controlled processing. According to Miller, he argues that short-term memory can store 7 bits of information, but the sizes vary. Working memory is significant for strategic learning. Corwin suggests that a student can hold from 3 to 9 unrelated chunks of work information that are available to be manipulated in the hippocampus, where working memory functions for about 24 hours. By the age of 15, working memory's capacity can still be expanded. For something to be held in working memory, there must be conscious realization that information needs to be interesting or important. If the information is not rehearsed or concentrated upon, after 10 to 30 seconds, information are discarded, which will never reach the working memory system for manipulation and maintenance. Implication for instruction. The importance of instruction is to focus students' attention on sorting processes. On the teacher's behalf, information should be given in small chunks to minimize extraneous load when teaching high intrinsic load materials. Further, students can be taught to determine relevance of content and eliminate insignificant information. By having control over what is important, it can make studying time efficient for students. According to Corwin, there are 5 steps teachers can teach students to consciously seek meaningful information. Number 1, recognize important information. Number 2, reduce it to a meaningful amount of content. Number 3, record it through practice, rehearsal, and elaboration. Number 4, remember it upon demand. Number 5, recall it when writing or speech or by making a product. Long-term memory. The hippocampus buried in the center of the brain is where all declarative long-term memory originates. According to Corwin, there are 2 types of long-term memory. One is obvious and deliberate, while the other happens unconsciously. For information to be automated, it takes time, which goes through a field of schemas. Declarative schemas. This represents the facts, concepts, or processes that are moved from working memory to long-term memory through elaboration, rehearsal, attaching new information to prior knowledge. This tends to be used a lot in schools. Declarative memory is accessed with conscious words students voice or written. Procedural schemas. How procedural schemas are stored is less understood, but still significant. Procedural tasks develop unconsciously. Students become developmentally ready and learn procedural tasks according to the parts of their brain's maturity or when neurons become myelinated. This is a process where students use factual knowledge from declarative memory to perform tasks. Conditional schemas. Conditional schemas is knowing when and why one applies declarative and procedural knowledge. Culture schemas. This relates to knowledge shaped by different cultural practices. Therefore, Kayla may be lacking in the procedural and conditional knowledge, which is knowing when to apply tasks and what. Certain students are unable to develop these two important memories to perform tasks. In schooling systems, there are an expectation to when students are expected to master certain procedural and conditional tasks. In this instance, teacher can implement teaching response such as special education programs at school to target students' problems. Also, by identifying Kayla's issue, teachers can now slow down and pick up the procedural and conditional knowledge by consolidating it before moving on to new topics.
What is physical development? And what kind of changes is Kayla going through? Perhaps the biggest change that Kayla is experiencing at the moment is the onset of puberty and all the changes that come with it. This includes growth, hormonal changes, and behavioural changes. Puberty and growth are important factors in Kayla's life at this time, so how are these things affecting Kayla? Puberty is characterised by the following factors: an increase in height and spurts of growth, sexual maturation and breast development in females. Weight gain is often experienced during this time, along with an increase in sweat production, the development of acne, and an increase in hair growth. As a result of puberty, Kayla may be experiencing a range of hormonal and behavioural changes. What could Kayla be thinking and feeling during this time? An increase in hormone production may make Kayla feel angry or aggressive. She may be feeling anxious, and it is likely that she's feeling a large amount of stress due to the changes she's experiencing in her schooling. As an early maturing female, Kayla may also have low self-esteem and feel different to her peers, and she may also feel as though she's being made fun of or laughed at for her differences. As a teacher, how can we help Kayla work through her problems? It is important to provide Kayla with the support she needs during this time. Emotional support should be offered. Offer her the chance to talk to you about her problems. If needed, recommend she visit the counsellor to discuss her problems further. If Kayla needs to talk to someone about the changes she is going through, recommend she perhaps speak to a PE teacher that she can trust and you can give her advice on what to expect during this time. Reassure her that everything she is feeling and experiencing during this time is normal, and that there are many people to help and support her.
This unit will be particularly helpful in my future career as a teacher. Not only have we gained valuable practical knowledge on the science behind adolescent development, but we've also gained important knowledge on the strategies to help students during these times. For me, an important aspect of teaching is having the capacity to understand my students' needs and being able to recognise when they're going through difficult times. It is essential for me to be able to help my students the best I can and provide them with the help and support they need. Over the course of this semester, we've learnt many valuable theories surrounding adolescent development and have gained insight into the research behind these theories. We have discussed the importance of memory and cognitive load, which will be a crucial part of our future teaching practices. I have learned from this unit that it is important not to overburden students with information and that instead information should be provided to them under certain conditions in order to maximise the amount of knowledge they absorb. I have also learned that short-term and long-term memory are very important factors when teaching adolescents, and that it's important to revisit work in order to ensure they have learned everything they need to. I have also learned the importance of positive thinking and that adolescents are surrounded by a lot of stress and anxiety. And it's highly important to help coach them through positive thinking to bring them back to a positive mindset. I have also learned that helping students is not a single person effort. Asking for opinions from other teachers and counsellors, as well as discussing issues with their parents or caregivers, can help give me valuable insight into the student's life. It can greatly assist my efforts in helping them. It is important for the students to know that there are many people around them that care and are willing to help them in whatever way they can. However, we must also appreciate that students may tell us information in confidence and that trust is crucial for a student to be able to continue to confide in us. Although if the student is in danger or in a dangerous situation, we need to inform the appropriate person in order to keep them safe. In an area such as science, it is important not to burden students with an overabundance of information. By ensuring content is relevant and ensuring information isn't being repeated unnecessarily, gives the student the best chance to absorb information. I will employ strategies we have learnt from this unit in teaching my own students to ensure I give them the best possible chance of learning.
From this unit, I have gained an insightful and holistic approach to teaching. It has provided many answers in regard to their behaviour, emotions and struggles. The teaching approach I aspire to bring to the classroom is to understand my students to be a guide but also someone they can relate to. The KLA I will be teaching is history, which this unit has provided the knowledge to emotionally, physically and socially deal with my students positively. What interested me the most is the biological foundation and mental health of adolescents. The cognitive aspect from this unit has provided understanding of the students' learning capabilities that I believe will always allow me to work sensitively and confidently with students and parents or caregivers. History tends to be heavily content-based and highly individualistic, as students will be required to read, write and speak on his or her own terms. According to BOSS tests, history requires students to recognize, connect, investigate, show understanding and explore societies, people and their development, as well as evaluate sources, whether it is primary or secondary. As we can see, this is already a problem to their cognitive load, which can cause harm unintentionally. In terms of teaching strategy, this has allowed me to understand that students need to be taught in small chunks when dealing with high intrinsic load elements. To become a great teacher, knowing their capability is key. Also, to tackle advanced or gifted students and their learning ability, strategies such as creating appropriate tasks for the lesson and less teacher's guidance is key as students become more competent. Therefore, through this unit, it has provided me with useful understanding regarding adolescents' cognitive foundation. And in a sense, this then has guided me to be aware of why some students struggle while some excel. Another aspect that I believe will make me a great teacher and reflect my belief is to take great care of mental well-being of adolescents. This unit have taught me resilience, which is helpful not to my students only, but also to myself. As stated above, history is heavily content-based, which can cause stress, especially during the HSC period. Students are constantly battling between bullying, family obligations, body issues, which can cause stress and in some sense become harmful over time if left unaddressed. As an educator, there is a sense of responsibility and care for these adolescents. It is important to build the understanding skills and control. To do this, coping skills such as autonomy, positive thinking, and emotional literacy and self-esteem is needed. As a teacher, I can use the knowledge I have learned from this unit and adapt it into my pedagogy. Focusing on positive psychology is a useful idea to utilize. This means focusing on human strengths, so praising effort instead of the mark they receive. By knowing this, I can create a positive learning environment that will leave a lasting impression on the students.